Hello there, Podawans. Welcome to another episode of HoloNet Live. I'm your host, Steve. Today is August 3rd, and here's what's going on in the galaxy, which is not much, except we have some huge news possibly coming tomorrow. As today's Monday, there's supposed to be some huge news on Tuesday about some more information possibly regarding some of the Disney Plus shows and the future of both Star Wars and Marvel in terms of where the franchises are going. This is due to a Disney earnings call. So tomorrow, hopefully, I have some more news of some awesomeness. But someone did post on Reddit, and I'm going to go through this and rank whether I believe this will be... that we'll get information on this tomorrow or not. There's a lot of rumors going around. Obviously, we've had a lot of the Solo rumors, Darth Maul, and everything. So, with further ado, this is from Reddit, and this is all known upcoming and rumored Star Wars projects. And here goes the list. Star Wars movies official. 3 unspecified films, 2023, 2027. I'm going to say highly unlikely. The Kevin Feige produced film, possibly the 2025 film, also highly unlikely. Taika Waititi's film, possibly the 2023 film. Let's just say yes. I'm going to say yes on this one because I feel like that's the only thing we've heard so far. He actually mentioned something, and that's probably related to contract obligations. All right, going down the list, Rian Johnson's trilogy. No, definitely not going to hear anything about that. Then it goes Star Wars movies rumored. And it says Leda Calagit. I don't even know how to say her name. What the heck? Leda Calagridis, Knights of the Old Republic film. That's all it says. I'm going to say no, just because we haven't heard a lick about Knights of the Old Republic in general, so I would suspect that the video game there would be news related to the video game first before this comes out. So moving on down, it says Star Wars Disney Plus shows official. So these are shows that have already been announced in some sort of fashion. The Mandalorian Season 2. Yes, we're going to hear something about that. Star Wars The Bad Batch. Yes, we've already heard info. We'll probably hear a little more info on that. Rogue One prequel starring Cassian Andor, which is also known as the Cassian Andor series. Yes, I believe we'd probably hear something about that. Obi-Wan Kenobi. Probably get an update on that because that was in production, so we'll see where that's at. Leslie Headland's female-led show. I don't know, because we haven't heard anything since they first rumored that earlier this year, and with COVID and everything, I'm going to assume this is going to be pushed back to next year. So if it is mentioned, it's probably just going to say it's delayed just because of everything going on, but I'm not sure. I don't know. We've heard... So going back, we've heard some rumors on Ahsoka getting her own show, Sabine, all related to the Rebel sequel kind of deal. So maybe this is going towards maybe Kira getting her own show. Not sure. I find this highly unlikely though, so I'm gonna say no in that case. And I still believe that I still want to say it's a little bit rumored at this point, just because we haven't got anything, we have no confirmation. The 4 shows I already just listed, we have gotten information on. So now into the category of Star Wars Disney Plus shows rumored. This one says The Mandalorian Season 3. Possibly just because they were going into production, but COVID-19 probably played a part in that. So I'm going to assume we're going to hear something. A Rebel successor, so a Rebel sequel. I'm going to say yes. I think we're going to hear something specific about this because people have been asking this. They've been teasing this all friggin' year long. It's about time we actually get some answers on this. I think we're getting pretty close, especially with Star Wars Celebration coming around the corner this month. I think we're going to hear something. Lando series. Maybe. I'm going to group these together. Lando and Solo and he doesn't say, or she doesn't say he's Darth Maul or anything, but I'm going to group Lando and Solo together just because we don't know what kind of form we're going to get. I guarantee we are going to hear something about it, though, just with the recent Lando rumors and Solo. Ahsoka. See, that's the thing. If it's a female-led show, I'm going to assume Ahsoka is going to be grouped into that if it is, but it could be talking about Kira. It could be talking about something else. So I'm going to say yes, but Ahsoka in terms of we're going to hear what shows she might be a part of. Dr. Aphra, no. I don't think we're going to hear anything on her or a show. I think that's just going to be rumored until next year if that's going to come to fruition. Unless the audiobook or the comic has anything to do with it, but highly unlikely. Boba Fett. I don't think we're going to get anything out of Boba Fett anytime soon. Until The Mandalorian Season 2 comes out, I have a hard time believing we're going to see something on Boba Fett. It also says another 2D animated show. I don't know. Maybe that's related to the Rebel sequel. No idea. And then it says Star Wars show pitches from HN Entertainment. And this says far from likely. A young Leia show. Woof. That'd be really cool, but I don't know. That would fill in a lot of the gaps between, like, with her life and everything. There is some information out there, but it would fill in some of the gaps, kind of like with the Han Solo, with Solo, a Star Wars story, and then if there's a series, it would help fill in that timeline with other different parts of the galaxy. So it would be interesting. Next one is Rose. I don't know if Rose would be one, just because the backlash from her character in the sequel trilogy. So again, I mean, there is still some story left with her, so maybe. I didn't particularly like her character that much, but most fans, I feel like, didn't either, but who knows? I mean, it was an intriguing storyline from how she got there, but yeah, I was not a particular fan of her character, so we'll see. Phasma. We already got novels on Phasma. I highly doubt. I mean, it would be cool, don't get me wrong, to see Phasma, but again, highly doubt that. You're going towards more of a Game of Thrones type vibe. If you haven't read the books or read the book Phasma, I would highly recommend it. It's one of my favorite books. It's by Delilah Dawson, and it definitely has kind of like a Game of Thrones type vibe, but in a Star Wars setting. So check that out. Knights of Ren, highly unlikely. I don't think they're going to expand on this beyond the comics. Darth Bane. I don't think they're going to go down that road either, only just because we're going into the High Republic stuff. I think we're going to see more High Republic type news before we're going to hear anything about Darth Bane. And I think the High Republic is going to come out first before we hear anything of Darth Bane. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like it makes sense, because if something came out about Darth Bane, then it's kind of like it takes away from the High Republic, because it's in that timeline between the Phantom Menace and the High Republic when it's set. So that 200-year gap, highly unlikely. I would have a hard time believing that. I feel like it would take away from the High Republic, or it would support the High Republic as if it took place then, but I have a hard time believing that. So I'm going to say no. And then it says Star Wars projects, J.D. Dillard's Secret Project. I have no idea. I say no on that one. So looking back, there's a lot to digest there. So I kind of dragged this episode out quite a bit just reading all of these, but it's really cool. Ollie and I think we're going to talk about this later this week on our podcast, just on our Pod Between Worlds show, just because there's a lot to digest here. And I have a different opinion on what I think, but it'll be very interesting to see what we hear tomorrow. So stay tuned for tomorrow's episode. I hope I have some more information. I'm sure they're going to be leaking out tomorrow morning at some point, and it's going to be all over Google and Reddit and everything. So other than that, that concludes this episode of HoloNet Live. I'll put actually there's no link to this list. I'll try to track that down, but I'll put it in the description. Thank you for joining me for another episode of HoloNet Live. Thank you for the support. As always, subscribe to our YouTube, our Spotify, Anchor, iTunes, Google, you name it. We're on all the podcast streaming services, as well as leave on Apple Podcasts specifically. We are looking for reviews and feedback, so we'd love to hear from you guys. Drop a comment. We're always looking to hear what our fans and what our supporters like about the show and everything. So thank you again for joining us for another episode of HoloNet Live, and I'll catch you later, Podawans.